Hi guys, and welcome to the Tattooed Sewer. Today we're going to be just doing a little easy peasy quick make out of scrap fabric, because if you're anything like me, you've got loads of scraps. Use up some of those things that have been kicking around because we just don't want to throw them out, because most of us who sew don't like to throw out fabric. So let's have a quick look at what I'm going to do today. I'm going to show you how to make a necktie out of scraps so that you can use it with outfits and t-shirts and whatever, just to pep up your outfit. It's really simple and easy to do, so let's get started. Okay, so now we've got our bit of fabric, what we need to do is get our fabric, fold it in half and pin along the top. Try and keep it nice and flat so you don't have any problems later on. Okay, we're all pinned in place. Next, what I'm going to do is fold it in half like this and get my pen, my magic pen, and I'm just going to mark where the halfway line is on the raw edge. So this is where my halfway mark is. So I'm just going to mark out either side, here and here. So the reason I've made this mark halfway down my necktie is because that is where I'm going to leave my opening. There's a few ways that you can do this. You can have the openings at the ends, or you can have the opening in the middle. I prefer to do it this way. So now we need to work out how we're going to do our corners. So when we sew this, we will have our 3/4 inch seam allowance as a standard. So what I do to do my corner is I generally fold it over into a point, making an allowance for the seam allowance there. So as you can see, it's slightly poking over here. I'll fold that down a bit, and then I just take my pen and I just mark along that line. So I will sew along that line and down to my seam allowance on this side. So that should give us a nice point here. So I've reached one of my markers, so I'm just doing a double backward stitch just to keep that nice and strong. I'm going to come up, cut my threads, and move on to the next marker. As you can see there, my two seam lines meet. Okay, so my two corners are now sewn, so I just need to trim these. So now my corners, my edges look like this, with cut back seam allowance and cut back off the corners, so that I can go on to the next stage, which is turning it through. Coffee. Okay, now we've got the turning through to do. We've got our hole in the middle here. You can do this in various ways. I like to do it with a needle, and because it's quite wide, it's not too tricky. So if it was a narrow one, you could use a turning loop. So I'm just putting my thumb up through the hole up to the point. Got my knitting needle with the rounded end, because otherwise that will go through it. And I'm just teasing it so I can start to push it through. Find your hole, that you've left. There we go. And boom. Ta-da! We need to do that on the other side. Pulling it through. Get my corner out, because one thing I do like is a nice pointy corner. I've got this, my little favourite pointy tool. No idea what it's called. Edger, cornerer, pointy thing, I don't know. Whatever works. So now we've got our long bit, all the right side out. So the next thing we need to do is iron it flat. Try not to skip this stage. I know it's tempting. I'm a bit of a bugger for not ironing things if I think I can get away with it. But honestly, it makes the next part a lot easier. I like to have a top stitch all the way round, so I will pin this hole closed so I know where it is, and then I will quickly do a top stitch all the way round, and that in turn will catch that hole and sew it up, so I don't have to do any extra work because I would have done the top stitching anyway. My necktie all done, complete and sewn up. I've caught my hole nicely so I don't have to do any hand stitching or worry about that. So I'm going to show you some variations that you can do once you've got into the swing of it, and you might come up with some quirky ideas. Me again today. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. Been nice speaking to you again as always. If you'd like to see more from me, you can ring the bell, you can subscribe, you can like, you can do all those other things, or you can nip over to Strawberry Vintage on YouTube or strawberryvintage.com and you can see more of me there doing all the other things that I like to do as well. So have a great day, take care, stay safe, love to you all, bye.